My name is Patrick Malberg, and this presentation will be on understanding neurological disorders, the non-seizure kind. So, neurological disorders are any disorders which attacks the human body's nervous system. Any of these abnormalities are located in the brain, spinal cord, and the other main nerves. We'll get into more of it later. The term neurological disorders is not uncommon to hear, especially with everything we have now, the internet, all the TV shows, and everything like that. But most people don't understand what neurological disorders are and to the extent they actually affect people. So, to understand them better, we're going to understand what they are and how they are caused, the many different types of neurological disorders, and finally how they're cured and treated. So, for starters, what is a neurological disorder? Well, they are caused by a function of peripheral or central nervous systems, caused by dysfunction of the peripheral or central nervous systems, I apologize, and they're caused by faulty electrical impulses in the brain or the spinal cord. So the faulty areas are going to be the brain, spinal cord, cranial nerves, peripheral nerves, nerve roots, autonomic nervous system, neuromuscular junction, and muscles. Okay, so how are they caused and what are the symptoms? So they can be caused by injury, illness, age, diet, and even genetics. Cardiovascular issues can also lead to neurological disorders, and this is due to the limited supply of blood that would be able to reach the brain. Many people don't think that's a part of it, but it actually is. Some of the symptoms include paralysis, muscle weakness, seizures, difficulty reading or writing, lowered perception, unexplained pain, and seizures. Now, the issue with neurological disorders is there's not always symptoms, and not all the symptoms are always present, so sometimes it makes them hard to diagnose. And this is just a representation of what the autonomic nervous system controls. So as we go back, we can see that the autonomic nervous system is one of the areas that can be affected. So if you see, these are all the things that it can control. So one neurological disorder can have a widespread effect rather than just like one little thing in the brain. It affects a lot of things. So, types of neurological disorders. There are over 600 different types of neurological disorders. Each neurological disorder is unique. So, in order to understand how they function, you must understand the basics. Trust me, this is much easier than trying to memorize them. I'll show you a list right now of just some of the neurological disorders that are known. Trust me, it's long. As you can see, trying to memorize all of these, their symptoms, and everything that consists with them isn't very easy, especially for just regular people if you're not a doctor. And that wasn't even all of them. That was just a list of some of the neurological disorders. So what we want to do is we want to take them and kind of categorize them. So the diseases that are caused by faulty genes are going to be Huntington's disease and muscular dystrophy. The diseases that are degenerative are going to be Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease. The cancerous things are going to be like brain tumors. Infections would be things like meningitis or encephalitis, and a blood vessel disease would be a thing like a stroke. So we can take things from that list, that last list, and categorize them about like what we know from something like this and place them where they would go to better understand which one is which. Makes it a little bit easier once you start getting into it more. Now, tool for identification, brain mapping. So this is when you yell map 3 times and a little map comes out and tells you everything you need to know about the brain. Alright, that's Dora the Explorer. But realistically, brain mapping, it helps us understand where things happen as the brain develops and also with diseases. So what it is just different tools that researchers use to collect images of the brain so we know what works where and what it controls. So this is a very crude representation of what brain map is. So parts of the brain that have different functions. So see emotion, sensation, basic movements, behavior, balance, hearing, vision, speech, skill. This, like I said, was a very simple representation. It's not 100% accurate, but it's close. It gives us an idea about what it is. Now this image is a brain map that is actually used by a surgeon. That green area that here that we see is actually a tumor And these other lit up areas are important areas that the surgeon needs to avoid, that these areas are right up against the tumor. So he needs to extract this tumor without hitting any of these lit up areas. Treating neurological disorders. So, due to just the sheer amount of neurological disorders, the treatment is going to vary for each one. Unfortunately, there isn't always a treatment plan or a cure. So, certain hospitals will go through a thorough evaluation and diagnosis process to come up with a treatment plan. I do know Mount Sinai Hospital is one that does this, and there are many others. So, types of treatment. There's stem cell treatment. So, the idea behind this was to take stem cells and inject them into humans to cure whatever ailments were present. So this is possible because stem cells are unspecified cells, and when injected they act as the repairman of the body, and they specify as needed in order to repair whatever is broken. So basically, whatever isn't working, those cells will go and find what's not working and specify themselves and make themselves part of that and continually just repair it. Another good thing about it was they're able to continually divide and create more of themselves over a long period of time, allowing for longer periods of healing without multiple injections. But this treatment was very, very controversial due to the way stem cells were actually extracted. There are a few universities, big prestigious ones, and some hospitals that are researching it still to find better ways of using stem cells so we can treat individuals, but that seems a little bit far off as of right now, but it will be coming back eventually, just hopefully in a much better way. Another type of treatment would be personalized medicine. So personalized medicine takes into account which genes are associated with the diseases, and it tailors these medicines around your genetics and your particular diagnosis. So this isn't any sort of breakthrough cure or breakthrough treatment, but it has helped a lot because it accelerates the treatment times and the options. It has been helping a lot, and it's increasing the treatment times by a lot as well. Another types of treatments are alternative medicines. Alternative medicines include things such as medical marijuana, vitamins, yoga, different sorts of things like that. So all they are medicines that aren't like pills or anything that like a doctor would normally prescribe. So medical marijuana was tested on MS patients and Parkinson's patients, and it showed promise in reducing pain, muscle spasms, and other symptoms that caused issues. And then vitamins and other natural supplements were also used to try to treat MS. And meditation was also another alternative medicine that actually showed promise in helping people with neurological disorders. Now, in the news. So, according to a survey in the UK, 45% of people say they would rather suffer from cancer than a neurological disease. So, this just shows how scary these neurological diseases are to people. Some of it comes from not knowing a lot about the disease. Other fears come from knowing too much about them. Neurological diseases are scary in the fact that everything that it can affect in the body, but most people's fear is the poor quality of life and the lack of independence that they lose and the huge burden that it would be on them and their families. In other news, Sue Ryder Charity is trying to raise awareness to end astigmatism upon people with neurological disorders. A lot of the people with neurological disorders report being bullied or abused, not only by people in public, but by their own families as well. And big name people such as Stephen Hawking are actually behind this charity, trying to raise more awareness to stop this bullying, to stop the abuse. And that would be the end of the presentation. These are the references. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.